All right, man. What's going on? You mean? Yeah, top of the evening, I guess. It's not the morning.
Something like that,
I
man.
mean,
So episode 1.
episode 1. Here we go. For those that don't know, we are the Cruxmen. You know, we're starting this new podcast, and he's doing something I'm not doing for the night. But next episode, I can borderline guarantee we'll be on the same page. I have a lovely cup of tea. You mean? So, yeah, man. So, yeah,
No one's judging you.
not yet.
Outwardly.
Not yet.
I'm definitely judging you on the inside. Big, giant vagina. So the crux, man.
Yeah.
You know, this has been something that you and I have talked about doing.
Like, this is 4 years in the making, easy.
Yeah, easy.
4 years in the making.
Back and forth, bouncing ideas.
Yeah.
So how did
And that was it. Yeah, that was it, though. Like, bouncing back and forth with ideas. Zero execution. Just kind of like, you know what? We'll get there eventually. And it just never did.
I mean,
until now it has.
like having a baby, right?
Mhm.
It's never a good time.
True indeed.
Hardest part, right? Hardest part of going to the gym is putting your shoes on. We did it.
Yeah.
God, man, 4 years. So many conversations, so many brainstorming moments.
And that's what we were trying to capture. You know what I mean? Like, is that like the great conversations we've had that we're like, well, man, fuck, man, if we could just record this, capture that, and other people could kind of be in, on that conversation we've been having. Usually we're both sipping some whiskey, smoking a cigar, perhaps. But either way, we start going off into the weeds about something, and then we're like, well, shit, man, too bad we can't share that with others. But now we are. And that was kind of like how this whole thing started.
So like, wanting to, kind of do something, I guess, obviously together, but it was bigger than just the two of us. I mean, we've had a lot of really amazing opportunities, I think, in our lives. But to come together and actually get to put it out there for, like you said, other people to I don't know, vibe to listen to. If we say something inspiring, like great, but outside of that, just kind of put a no holds bar type of podcast together where two people, right, who come from completely different backgrounds, can get together and see life kind of through the same lens, I guess,
Yeah.
Although I will stand by the fact that the hardest part of this entire thing was coming up with the name.
True indeed. The 15, 16 hours over the 15, 16 hours yesterday alone, maybe. And then the last week of just texting back and forth.
It was stressful. Legitimately, I think I woke up with like 37 text messages from you one morning, and it was just like, quote, random fucking name, end quote. And after 37 of them, I felt so defeated, and I'm like, none of those are going to work.
I mean, I was about to just get to the point where I just basically start just slapping letters on my keyboard and then just sending it and seeing like, well, maybe that just makes sense. You can
Dude, I was going through all the like generators online, like name generators or whatever. And I was like warrior, alpha male, salt and papa, like all these random shit. And it would pop up with something like unicorns and rainbows, fun time. I'm like, that's not, I don't.
It just gives you something back like, this is dumb. Like, oh, okay, well,
yeah,
you're later.
Like the Grinch, like, I'm an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah. Oh, okay. Outstanding.
Yeah, man. Like, so yeah, it's, I don't know. Like, it's good to finally do it. I mean, shit, we're here, we're doing it. Like, I think this is going to be the hardest one. At least I hope so, shit. I figure it's all downhill from here, right? So
I don't know. I think we have so many things, so many topics that we kind of want to discuss. It's going to be organic, and I mean, honestly, that's kind of just what we're doing right now, right? Like unscripted, organic banter between the two of us, and hopefully we can bring some guests on in the future, get some other, some different parties involved, and actually have like solid topics, things that whatever's going on in the world, right?
Current events like the horrible Southwest flights that are going on out there, people getting stranded places. Southwest is, I mean, the whole airline in general, that whole industry is kind of bogus in the holiday season, but in particular, was it 97% canceled flights, something like that today?
Why?
I was like, God, or just in general, like they're canceling everywhere.
Why?
So, yeah,
I don't understand.
So what I read a little line on there. They were saying like basically like their processes, their systems are like antiquated, like everything's just old. I guess maybe they've been going cheap this whole time, and now they've kind of gotten exposed. So they're gonna definitely take the hit, though. So,
I mean, that's a lot. If you'd have said like 20%, I'd have been like, "Yo, that's heavy."
Well, American
but
was
90?
at 11, and I think United was like 6%. But then, they were at like 90-some%. So try to get a better number on that.
So don't fly.
It's kind of ridiculous.
So don't fly anywhere right now.
Shit,
on Southwest.
I'm not a fan of flying during the holidays already because of this stuff, especially going back to the East Coast, with the weather and all that. But this right here, all it does is prove my point.
Well, that's where I'm headed. That's where I'm headed next week. I'm heading out to the East Coast from Vegas.
Me too, potentially. All right.
So
good deal. Yeah,
where on the East Coast are you going to be?
I don't know yet. We haven't decided. But I might be bouncing around 4 different cities. So we're thinking Louisville. Right, it's not East Coast, but I want to go to Florida. We don't want to go north just because it's cold. We're trying to stay in fairly warm places. But I heard Louisville, and I would like to go to New Orleans. I've never been there yet.
What?
Never been. Yeah, it's been something that somehow has escaped me. I've been all over the place, but one of the main ones. To me, like New Orleans in the South, it's like a Georgia, right? But like, how do you not go? It's like one of the major cities, especially culturally, food, all the things that I love, the music, the food, and all the things I could potentially get into.
But I know you don't. I know you don't like putting your food together. But if you go to New Orleans and you don't get shrimp and grits,
that's one of my favorite dishes down south. Period.
Oh, it is.
I love shrimp and grits. Yeah,
I was about to cancel this friendship right here. If you're garbage, not gonna do it.
No. Like we can maintain on that. Yeah, I love me some shrimp and grits. That's one of my go-to. When I see a place, especially if I'm down south, if I'm seeing shrimp and grits, I'm probably gonna get that. Screw everything else, dude. It's like good seafood, like some good gumbo. Oh my, it's like that's the stuff that I want to have when I'm down there. Is you gotta get Creole, Cajun. I want give me. I'm gonna tell them like, what's the wildest thing you got here?
Jambalaya. Red beans and rice, bread pudding.
All the Popeyes that I eat, I want that in its motherland. You know what I mean? Like in where it's from, where it originated, all that.
Randomly enough, I was out in Myrtle Beach. I don't know. It's probably a couple months ago, I think, and all the like main restaurants were closed. It was like a Monday night. It's like some in the South, right? Like on Sundays and Mondays, everybody's just closed out. I guess everybody works on Saturdays, Sundays go to church day. Mondays, the day to rest after going to church day, I guess. But man, I ended up in one of those random, like, you go to like those beach towns and they have like the sports bars and stuff like that right on the water, and they'll have whatever, like cornhole, but they got all the big screens and all the football and whatever else playing. Dude, some of the best shrimp and grits I've ever had that night. And they had the Creole seasoning on the shrimp with like andouille, like spicy andouille sausage and cheddar grits. And there was some sort of like cream sauce on top too that just like pulled it all together. Like you got the flavor of the spice, but you didn't necessarily get the heat. It was nuts, absolutely nuts. I think it was like a $35 plate, but
shit. But I mean, if it's good, then
it was worth it. It was worth it.
Like I don't mind spending on some food. It just better be worth it. If I'm spending $35 on a plate and the steak tastes like the bottom of my shoe, this is a problem. You know what I mean? I'm giving it back. So it's like, okay, so like, have you ever had one of those aged steaks, ones that are like, however, like 5 years old and they got green mold growing on it and that's supposed to be like flavor or whatever, and they cook it up? It's like an aged steak. You ever had one of those?
No.
It looks like leather. I don't know what I don't see the difference. I've paid money for these aged steaks and it tastes like shit. I'm not a fan of them.
I was going to say, why would you do that?
Well, I mean, they think that they charge extra. It's supposed to be like an experience. That experience sucked. So I'll never do it again. I'd just rather get like a regular steak.
It's like eating moldy cheese. Why would I pay extra for the moldy cheese?
I mean, that's all cheese is old as milk.
Well, maybe, whatever, like skimmed off the top, whatever.
Like the older the better, like the stinkier the better,
Gross.
They put them down in like some cellar, look, you know what I mean?
I'm not judging. Whatever you prefer, all right? But gross. Ew. I've said this before. You've got problems, okay?
Well, it's understood. It's understood. Ask my pops. He knows what he made. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, all these things, different experiences. I mean, and this is another beauty about doing a show like this, though, too, is that, we have lived very rich lives. You know what I'm saying? Where we've had so many experiences, going to so many places. I mean, having traveled all over the world, and done things that we can pull from these experiences, like a lot of knowledge, wisdom that can be passed on to folks. You know what I mean? Which I think is great for this as well. I mean, because granted, like, in our day to day, for us, we're just kind of flowing. There's things that like we do that other folks have never really like experienced. Like to go, like, me going to like to a Germany, you know what I mean? And some people haven't done a Christmas market out there, or drank Glühwein out there.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that, which is, I got a little boot this time too, because you get to exchange them or whatever for like money, whatever.
The little porcelain ones.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
I need to start getting like a collection of them bad boys.
You got to pinky out when you.
Absolutely, yeah, and there's not even. I got like all my fingers off. You know what I mean? But it's just stuff like that. Is the like I said, those experiences, just to share them. You know what I mean?
I think
just to talk about them is great.
Is it too bold to say that that's kind of like the essence of what this is going to be? I mean, what this is supposed to be? I mean, you take any given experience, any trip, country, otherwise that we've gone, we've done. I mean, I don't even know how many countries we've been to together necessarily, but a lot. You could take one and just talk about that, and talk about it in not in like a, oh, look at us, look what we got to do, look at the life we live. It's more like, look at the life we live. Look at the life we get to, because we choose to live this kind of life, right? Like, not trying to get philosophical out the gate, but everything we do in life is a choice, right? And there's so many people out there who are, and kind of bring this full circle back to why we want to talk about how we got here. So many people in life are just afraid to take that next step, afraid to take that necessary step to put themselves in potentially a better situation. And I had this conversation earlier today, and I was like, I was saying that, I was almost kind of like equating this like a fear, getting started with this project was like a fear of success. Like, why didn't we do it already? And I'm like, it wasn't a fear of success. It wasn't a fear of failure or even a fear of criticism. And I finally pinpointed it. I was like, it was a fear of the unknown, right? Like, take something like this, you blast anything out on the interweb and all of a sudden, I mean, you've said this before, like, now it's out there. It's out there. People can take this, chew us up, spit us out. Fortunately, I don't think either of us give a shit. I mean,
not really. No.
Not
at this point in the game. No.
We're doing this for us. We're doing this We're doing this for us. And if anybody else can look at that and hear those stories or whatever else and kind of feel like they're along for the ride, then outstanding. And maybe when they get the opportunity to go and do something like that, they're like, hey, man, remember those dudes, those boys on the Cruxmen they were talking about? You know, they went to Germany and they took that train to Trier and went to this Christmas village and drank Glühwein out of these little porcelain cups. Like, I want to do that. That sounded amazing. You know, on a train going through Germany, and you look out the window and it looks like Narnia. Like, that's the only thing I can explain it. Like the you've never seen white or snow, you know, like and just going through the woods. It just absolutely beautiful.
Mean, absolutely. This is the things that I like to listen to, me personally. So there's other like podcasts that I've been listening to like in the past where it motivated me to go make a move, you know, to go travel to these places, go do these different things and have that experience for myself. I mean, like these people, these, you know, individuals that spoken so highly of that trip. And I'm like, well, I need to duplicate that. I want to go try that. I want to do that. And, you know, and having had, you know, me being like a traveling type ever since I was like a kid, I mean, like that's something I've been always wanted to do. So the fact that I get an opportunity to do that and to travel and we're doing this at the same time and being able to share these experiences with other people and to kind of let them know, like, you know, there's more to life than, you know, whatever it is that they're going through, you know what I mean? Whatever they got going on, you can tailor make your world how you want it. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, those people that you see on your Instagram or whatever are just regular folks. They just chose to do something different. You know what I mean? So go have it. You know, you can make your life rich without having to necessarily be a multi-billionaire. You know what I mean? Just go have experiences. Experiences are what give you the wealth, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Like, you go out, you do that, and it makes you, all the stuff that you, all the material stuff that you have doesn't make you interesting. You know what I'm saying? It's the things that you've done, the things that you've seen, what you've experienced, and how you can share that and exchange that with someone else.
That
and make
point
them
right
feel
there.
Some kind of a way. You know
that
what I mean?
point right there. Exactly. Sharing it with other people, man. Like, dude, I so many times in my past have I gone out and remembered like my mentors that like showed me the way of like just living, right? Enjoying life, you know, like little things that they've said, like, you know, don't leave a good time for a good time. I'll never forget that one. You know, it's like little things like that. It's like, you never really know what it means until you're in that situation. And it's like, oh man, I want to go to this spot over here. Like you're in Spain, you know, it's like, oh man, I heard about this club in Sevilla. Let's go check this one out. I was like, yeah, but this one's pretty awesome. Like we're all having fun right now, right? We're out here, we're dancing, like all the things that you would want to happen, especially as a single man in Spain, are going down, right? And people are trying to drag you out of that environment. Like, look, you don't need to have money to enjoy life, you know, and just, you know, just like money can't buy happiness, right? You know, you can't make somebody happy unless you're happy with yourself, you know? So, I'll tie all that together by saying, like, I've been on the road in some absolute shithole cities and had a fucking fantastic time because of the people I was with.
Absolutely.
And I've also been on the road in incredible like vacation destinations, but because the company I'm with at the time sucks, I'm having a miserable time, you know? Absolutely. So it's the mentality, right? And you know me, I like to bring everything kind of like full circle, like how we got here, the mentality of getting here, the mentality of what we're trying to do here with sharing life experiences and stuff like that. Like get the mindset right. Get the mindset right before you even step out the door. You know, you step out the door and go to Starbucks. It could be the best day of your life at a Starbucks because you meet, I don't know, maybe you meet the love of your life. You meet your next best friend. Maybe you're working on a screenplay or something like that, and you meet a producer or director or something like that, right? That does not happen. That conversation doesn't go well. That meeting never occurs if your mind's not right. I guess first you got to put your shoes on and walk out the door, you know, and then it just elevates from there. Like you and I, we both know, man, with all the travel we've done, all the money in the world. I mean, could it have amplified some of the things that we've done?
Absolutely.
It could have. But would it have brought more joy? Would it have, a measurable level of joy? I think it would just brought a heavier experience. Maybe
it would just amplify what we already do. You know what I mean? Like it's. I mean, it would. Let's just be clear. Like having money definitely makes life easier and it makes it glorious. But it all it does is just amplify what we. I mean, if we're having a blast right now, if we go to like that next level, like a Bezos type level, you know what I mean? Even not like fucking Bezos, like this. I mean, just even more so than what we're doing already.
I'm like, you just shot for the fucking stars from that one.
I'm going straight to the top. Straight to the top.
Look,
you know what I mean? But like,
if we're best friends with Elon Musk this time next year, based on a podcast,
and you think about it too, though, right? Like, it's to have that level of like, let's just, it's successful, right? Like, success is relative as well, right? But to have that level of money, you know what I mean? Like that financial prowess, I guess you could say, like whatever, you know what I mean? To have that amount comes with its own problems. Shit that I don't even want to have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what that's even like to be in that space. I like to be comfortable. I want to be able to do what I want to do without having to be burdened by having so much money where everybody's in my face trying to get me on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like right now we can move and have a great time on our terms without being on that level. But if we take it to that point, I don't know what that looks like. Like, can we even go anywhere and have a good time anymore without everybody in your face trying to get something up out of you? Like, I don't think Bezos parties. I don't think he's out there, you know, having a good time with his peoples. I mean, granted, he's got other bigger things, which is probably why he's where he's at, right? Like, he's out there doing Amazon stuff, and we're doing podcasts. But
I'm just saying, there's places in this world for those types of people to party.
For sure.
Like,
it's eyes wide shut. That's exactly what that is.
Dude. I don't know if I ever told you before, man. I once upon a time in a different life, right? I spent a little bit of time in Hollywood, and there was this place called Beecher's Madhouse, and it was in the basement of the Roosevelt Hotel. And dude, it was like, I mean, the tables, it sounds expensive, but the clientele coming in there, it was, $20 to the normal person, right? It was like 300, I think, was like the cover if you didn't have a table. Men table buy was like 5 G's, something like that, and you go in there and like, I won't say the people I saw in there because I would never want to like, exploit them, or expose them in a way that they don't want to be. But dude, it was one of those things like you walk into this spot and you come in, and I swear to God, my first experience there, I walked through the door. I was like, yo, what's up? David or whoever the guy was at the door. Cause I knew the guy, and he's like, yo, what's up, man? Like, come on in. Da, 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 da. So I go in and I see something out of my periphery right here. Like I had a duck. There was like a midget on a zip line just cruising through the nightclub dressed up like Cupid. I was like, what the actual fuck is going on here? And then right after he goes ziplining by, this dude on fucking stilts comes by. It was like a nightclub, but it was a circus.
Interesting.
And it was like where a bunch of like Hollywood, I don't want to say elite, but like let's call them B.5 A- celebrities.
That'll work.
Who didn't want to go to that limelight, right? They didn't want to go out and get bothered, at like Supper Club or whatever the big club was back in the day, Crest or whatever it was. But they'd go there because it was a party. There was a DJ, but there was also like insane
people like them.
Yeah, people
same
like them,
caliber of folks. Yeah.
Insane, like the environment, right? It wasn't like your typical nightclub where there's just a DJ and everybody's dancing. There was entertainment on a stage throughout the entire night, and it was weird stuff, right? Like it reminded me of I saw something like Dave, what's his name? The comedian that like dated Kim K and all them. Pete Davidson.
Pete
Davidson. So I saw a very funny and ironic video with him earlier today. he was talking about his experience when he went to dinner with like Kanye and Kim K when they were together. And he's like, "Oh my God!" Yeah, right. Like the irony of the entire thing had me just dying laughing, right? Because I don't give a shit. Like, like he's doing him, she's doing her. Kanye's living in Kanye's world, doing Kanye things. But I guess Kanye walks in and he's like, "Let's get the spot in the back." And I guess Pete Davidson was like, "Oh no, like what's going on?" Right? Like, he's like. Basically, what I took from him is he's like, this sounds really expensive, and I don't think I could afford to hang with this dude right now, right? And Kanye wanted and I'm relating like the Beecher's Madhouse, right, to this particular story, but I guess Kanye was like, I don't want a menu. I want what's not on the menu. I want the crazy shit, the shit that nobody else gets, that kind of thing. That's what Beecher's Madhouse was for whatever the celebrities were they were hanging out. They were getting like just another level of when you've experienced everything. And I think you might know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to save it for another episode.
Yeah.
Once you've had everything in life delivered to you on a silver platter,
start getting creative with it. Huh?
You have to start getting creative. It's not exciting anymore. But when you walk into a nightclub and you almost get taken out by, a midget on a zip line, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm here to party.
Yeah,
let's get weird.
Yeah. Now, it's funny because you said like the little munchkin going through the hanging from the ceiling. I think I've been to that in Vegas when it was at the MGM.
There was 2 of them. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I went to some because I was like, man, that sounds super familiar. And yeah, I went to the one that was in Vegas, and I didn't understand. I was like, this is chaos. But it was like comfortable. You know what I mean? Like I dug it. I was like, this is kind of wild. I've never seen nothing like that. You know what I mean? I was like, why are you up on the ceiling? You know what I mean? Doing handstands and doing all this other stuff. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was a madhouse for sure. It was an absolute madhouse. I was digging it though. Yeah, that was an experience and a half.
I loved it, man.
Yeah, man. Anyway, I'm sure we got way off topic with that in terms of the whys and all that, which we tend to do. But
well, I mean, let's go back to it, man. I had I really truly had a point that I really wanted to make starting out on the whys, and it really is, man. Like just an honest, a thank you, like truly, man. Like, I think obviously people will I think maybe learn to understand the dynamic of our friendship. As this podcast type of thing progresses or whatever, but there's things in life that like this particular type of thing right here, even, we've been rolling together for a while, and I wouldn't be here without you, man. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. Thank you for helping us get here, man. A lot of this, the Cruxmen, the name, the ideas, that's all you, man. I appreciate you. Let me be a part of it.
Absolutely not.
You can't just take something so sincere and just.
I mean, like, yeah, like you're welcome, but like, no, I mean, like this was like it was gonna happen. Unfortunately, it's taken this long, but I'm glad it's happening, right? Better late than never. But in terms of putting this whole thing together, finally, right? and not just now, but like the consistency here forward. You know what I'm saying? That is when I think that is where it would be for me a little more appropriate for me to accept like a legit, cling cheers to, episode 52 or something like that. You know what I mean? Right now, I just happen to, we're on here and I'm here, I'm alive and functioning. You know what I mean? But but absolutely, like, you're welcome. I mean, it's great though to be able to do this with someone that, you know what I mean, that you care about.
Go ahead.
I mean,
say it. Oh, he said it.
I'm not all that emotion stuff's not really for me, but you know what I mean? Like, it's nice to do that with someone that, you have a good time with and can do all these things with, you know what I mean? So it's great.
Look,
I mean, it's,
look,
to go into battle.
For those of you who are watching or listening, if he was sipping right now, I'm holding up the bottle. He'd be boo-hooing like a little goddamn baby. Just, no, he needs so much. That's actually not true at all. He's never done that, not even once.
I'm about to say, there will be episodes with me partaking of the devil's nectar. And when you guys see that, by all means, hit us up in the comments and expose the hell out of me, because I would like to see that myself. But,
absolutely. Like, I full on, I'll tell you. You know what got us here was let's call it north of 30 years worth of life that has one, for whatever reason, got us, in each other's universe. But there's been a lot of fucking, like, just bullshit, like downplaying, like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you just, people giving us the Heisman left and right. And I don't mean like together, right? I mean like individually. Life is not easy. It really isn't. Life is not fucking easy. And you really have to learn. This is just me speaking for me right now, right? You got to learn how to stand up for yourself. You got to learn when enough is enough, when to say no, when to understand that you actually have more power in a situation than maybe what you thought you had, like you gotta get there. But really bringing it full circle, it's very helpful when you have, a brother in life that, you can call and it's like, yo, man, I got you. Right. Like, may not got you financially, maybe don't have you on the emotional level that you're on, 'cause you've down to fifth of fucking bourbon, and you're on a fucking, you're on a rant. I'm not saying this ever happened to anybody here, but like shit goes down. But to have that in your life and to come out of it not feeling judged, right? It's just a fucking another day. It's another day. It's another life lesson. And it's like, all right, tomorrow's going to be better though. What did we learn from yesterday? Right? You're not learning. I mean, I love that whole, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. There is no idle. There is no idle.
No.
The only idle is when you're sleeping. Like, honestly,
Well, even then, like, shit, like, are
you could
idle?
be moving. You could be moving forward. Your finances could be moving forward. You got all these side hustles people talk about. Like, I mean, like,
make money,
you got your money making money for you.
Absolutely.
Or your debt collectors are waking up on the East Coast, already blowing you up, and you're on the West Coast. It's 5:00 in the morning. Well, you're working backward.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, in terms of like having the power, you always do. People always do. Once again, it's that fear, the unknown. If I leave this, then what do I got? If I don't do this, then what do I do? You know what I mean? And like, for me, in my mind, at least for me, getting away from that, feeling like obligated to keep going to a job that I don't particularly care for, or being with someone I don't particularly care for, you know what I mean? And feeling stuck. My thing is, like, as soon as you cut ties with that, you now open yourself up to all the possibilities in the world. You know what I mean? And for me, that's the way I've been looking at it for some years now. You know what I mean? Like, there is nothing wrong with detaching yourself from something that makes you miserable. Because now you've kind of regained whatever energies, whatever powers, whatever that you thought you didn't have, you now have that. And now you can kind of decide on, okay, well, like, where do I go now? Like, that didn't work, which is fine. So, like, now what do I want to do? I mean, where do I want to go? How do I want to spend my time? Now that I don't have this weighing me down anymore. Not only, mentally, but like maybe even financially. You know what I mean? You're cutting ties with a cancerous situation potentially. You know what I mean? And now you're kind of you're whole again. You know what I mean? So I think that's all this is like life in general. It's all tailoring our lives to what we want it to be. I mean, making it to how we want it. And it's not easy to do because nobody really knows what the hell we're doing. You know You know what I mean? We're just thinking like, well, shit. All we have like in our mind, I think it's like it's definitely like a safety. I mean, it's a safety thing, right? I have a job. If I leave this job, I don't have any job. Now what do I do? So I can't leave. I mean, this is how like people get stuck. You know what I mean?
You got to know yourself. You got to know your self-worth, though, right?
Well, I mean, and people say that, but then like, what does that even mean? A lot of folks, you say that, but like, my self-worth. I mean, shit. I mean, look how long it's taken for us to put this thing together, right? Like, I mean, there's all that plays on the psyche, especially when depending on if you've got like kids and you've got this, like, you can't just make a move. It has to be planned out on some level, or you have to put extra hours in on top of your 9 to 5 to make that other thing happen. And once you get traction on that, now granted, you're talking about exhausting yourself depending on what endeavor you're pursuing, but you're going to exhaust yourself doing that. But if it starts getting traction, now you can start maybe spending less time at that 9 to 5 that you hate, and you start moving into that world that you want. But it's just a matter of putting in the effort and the energy, like what we're doing here. This is episode 1, and we're moving in another direction as well. You know what I'm saying? Granted, yeah. And the thing about like with us, we're not miserable in our current situation. We're adding gravy to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, because like for me, I've cut out a lot of my stupid stuff, and I'm very, very content and at peace with a lot of things. However, I'm not 100% satisfied. You know what I mean? So to have a little something extra creatively, a lot of the stuff that a lot of things I do, it's not necessarily that creative. It doesn't. I think that's where I think I borderline kind of suffer on some level, because it's like I'm not creating anything. I'm not doing anything that for me like serves that other, I guess, like the right side of my brain. I don't know. Like it's something like this is more. I enjoy this more than other work that I do. I mean, those other things I do, like it serves a different part of me. This serves something else.
You're definitely like an intellectual, right? Like compared to me, compared to me, I'm like the ABC book, the Dr. Seuss, that A is for apple, right? And you're the fucking Webster's dictionary.
I say aardvark, right? Like, instead.
Yeah, like why you got to show off? I couldn't even come up. Why you got to show off right now? Like people see this, aardvark. You understand that? Like yes, but AR, fuck you, right? Like that's, and then now we move on to the next, right? But again, try not to get too philosophical or even to tap into something that could potentially be another episode, I guess. But like, going back on what you were saying, man, like really and truly, right? I'll make a shameless plug here. Rhonda Byrne, right? The Secret. I think a lot of people have read the book. Maybe some people have seen the movie. A lot of people have talked about it for sure. But maybe what a lot of people don't know is that there's other books that follow that, right? The Secret is I'll whatever, spoiler alert, right? It's a law. It's the law of attraction, right? Like, and it talks about like things that you want, right? You kind of attract them into your life. And some people, you can look at it on a more basic level, like, oh, I want love. I want a significant other. I want children. I want a job. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Some things are easier to come by than others. But you think outside that box, you're like, man, I want peace. I want happiness. And I'm not talking about world peace. I'm talking about just there's enough war and conflict, inner conflict within most people on the day-to-day, just stepping outside their house before they even get out of bed in some cases. People are dealing with social media and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully we're not adding to that. Hopefully we're helping people maybe think outside of that. Mm-hmm. But some people wake up and they're already at war before they get out of bed. It's miserable. I hate that for them. For me, you got to have the mental fortitude to see beyond that. So what I'm getting after is that this is a cliche statement, but you've heard me say this before. Cliches are cliches because they're true, right?
Yeah.
It's a fact, right? So, if you're not doing the things to lead you in the direction of what it is you want, right? then that whole law of attraction is not going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
So Rhonda Byrne has another book, The Promise. I know you've read it, right? And that's about loving what it is you want as if you already have it. That's a whole nother level of mental strength where you're like, yo, you want to be whatever. Let's just say, take something cliche. You want to be a millionaire. Okay, how do I become a millionaire? Well, one, your actions have to represent what it is you're going after. You can't be some lazy piece of shit waiting on the money to get dropped to your front door. It's never going to happen. You got to go out and work and hustle and be creative and come up with new ideas, whatever it is, or go out and be the best at whatever it is you're supposed to be, but never accept where you're at as your best. You have to continue to challenge yourself to be better day to day. I have 2 little girls. I told both of them the same thing today. Every day you should challenge yourself to be better than you were yesterday, because that's the only way you're going to improve as a human, right? Now, I got little girls. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing this heavy stuff to them but today we're just talking about a basic appreciation, appreciating what you have, what your mom and dad give you, and I showed my little girl this video of this other little girl, her dad, and he had no money. He didn't have any money, couldn't afford a gift, couldn't afford a birthday party. There's no going out to dinner for some people. There's no birthday presents, plural, for some people. You know what I mean? Like for some people, this, what just happened a couple of days ago, Christmas. That means nothing more to them than maybe you walk down the street barefoot to the local, church, and you pray with family, right? Like,
riddle me this.
The true nature, like,
on a quick side note, like those folks, if that is indeed their reality, where there isn't a load of gifts, maybe not even like a tree, maybe something real small, simple. Do you think that they are less happy or more happy, or like a tighter unit, like in terms of like a family? You know what I mean? Are they a closer unit because they don't, or like, are they less tight? Is what I'm saying.
But I'll answer that. I'll answer that by finishing the story of the video I showed my daughter. This little girl, her dad was able to come up with enough change, I guess. I'm not trying to over dramatize this thing. This is just what the video spoke to me, right? He walks into her bedroom. It's a tiny little room with a bunch of little bunk beds, probably for her other brothers and sisters, whatever. He walks in the room with a slice of cake. That's it. It's just a slice, not the whole cake. It's just a slice of cake. It's what he was able to afford from whatever the bakery was in town. He was able to afford a slice. And who knows what he had to go through to get whatever that was, right? He walks in. There's a candle and the slice of cake. And he's walking in the room. And his daughter, who's probably, she looks maybe 6, 7 years old, just starts bawling, crying. Disregards the cake. It wasn't even about the cake. Like it was the act, right? It was the thought. Like, oh my God. Like, she has seen things most kids these days had never seen. That meaning a poverty on a level where you're so appreciative that your dad brought you a slice of cake that it brings you to tears. That's an emotion that my kids don't understand, I didn't even understand that growing up, where I grew up. Like, I think it depends on the external influence, to answer your question.
Yeah, I haven't heard the whole story now. Like, I think that little girl, what she understands is life at its essence, because it's not about all the stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's the simple things that for her now, like, whatever she goes off and does, she'll be able to appreciate it. You know what I mean? I mean, because I think we get caught up in all the expectation to get some stuff for Christmas has ruined, I think, that holiday. It ain't even about being with family no more. I mean, there's people stuck in airports, probably more so pissed because they probably don't even want to make that trip to go see their family in the first place. And now they're stuck in some damn airport flying Southwest, and they're like, you know what? I could have stayed home for this. It saved my $1,000. You know what I mean? Because it's not about that. You know, if you were to come over, and I've tested this numerous times, if I've dated women and you hang with people sometimes, if you come empty-handed, they're looking at you crazy. Where's my stuff? Oh, you weren't thoughtful. You didn't think, motherfucker, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, you should be happy with that. I could have.
You invited me.
Man, I could have kept my sweats on and stayed home. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about just being together for some people. It's about the stuff. I mean, it's about what did I get? What do I get out of this? You know what I mean? And you look at like a lot of relationships.
External influence, though, right?
Well, yeah, but that's how you know that they're just not for you. You know what I mean? Like, this is why, like, I think a lot of friendships fall apart, because it's not about what am I getting out of it all day long. And granted, I'm no different. You know what I mean? Like, shit, if all I'm doing is, some people, you sit and you're around them and you're hating life the entire time you're in their presence. And the only thing you can think of is, how do I get out of here? What's my greatest escape? It's like being on a horrible date. You know what I'm saying? Those people are not for you. Stop showing up. And I had to tell myself this, even though it's very difficult to do. This is like, that's my downfall as a person, me trying to help people all the damn time. However, you know what I mean? I think it's just that, like, it's not just the relationship. It's just more so, if you're not getting anything out of it, then they wouldn't even have nothing to do with you in the first place. But when it comes to like that family piece, I think it sucks, because it's supposed to just be an opportunity for everybody to just get together and be with each other. But kids have this expectation that Santa's got something for me. Well, hey, even though I've been like a little bit of an asshole this entire year, I still expect to get something. And the thing on top of that, dumbass Santa keeps giving it to him. You know what I mean? And then it's kind of like, well, what's the point? Where's the motivation for that? I'll say this, my daughter, she already knows. Don't even ask me for nothing. she already knows. Like, if I don't see what I need to see, if Santa doesn't see them grades, and the grades that he prefers to see, you ain't getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get a downsized version of what you thought you were going to get. You mean? And the thing about it, the way she kind of did me dirty is what she went and got all A's and got a B. And I was like, so now I'm over here having to produce. You know what I mean? Dad, I want those 3rd generation iPods for $200, man. I was like, why am I buying Apple products? Headphones at that.
Hold on.
For $200.
I'm gonna put my mic in. Because they're the best.
Yeah, as that the whole time she's talking to me today on these bad boys. Oh, what are you saying, Dad? I can't understand. I was like, yo, your internet or your phone is trash. But you know what I mean? Like, it. Anyway, like it's.
By the way, for the future sponsors, we support both Apple and whatever the fuck he has. Okay, good.
No, but it's that, because you know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. Like, I've seen it over and over and over again. And not say that it's always that you don't have to give your kids shit. Like, I agree with that. You know what I mean? To an extent, though. Like, there's got to be like a limit to it. Because I got homeboys that buy their kids all kinds of stuff, but it has not improved their relationship at all. They're not any closer.
You already know, man.
You know what I mean?
That shit doesn't improve relationships, man. What improves relationships is discipline and respect
and being together. Like, you know,
being together. Like these things, but these things are not. They're not. They don't just manifest themselves out of nowhere. Like, it has to be taught. You have to parent your children. I mean, that's a whole nother.
These iPads are doing
thing,
that, but yeah,
right?
that's a whole. That is a different combo. You know what I mean?
iPads are not parenting kids. I mean, some people
daily.
think that's the jam.
Yeah, like you got Wally over there teaching your kid ABCs and everything else because people don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean?
Look,
they're like, shut the hell up.
Easily guilty of on like a long road trip. You know,
absolutely.
Like, look.
Don't drive me crazy.
Here's the iPad.
Before you're all dead.
Watch the movie.
Yeah.
Right. And even my kids, even with the iPad, they're like every. I'm gonna be generous and say every 3.5 minutes, Daddy. What could you Daddy? Look what I drew, like on the iPad. Like, you understand? We're going camping right now, and I got a 15,000-pound fifth wheel I'm pulling. I can't turn around and look at you, child, every 3.5 minutes. It's not safe. But at the same time, I understand their innocence. They're happy to show me stuff.
Yeah.
That is definitely another episode.
Yeah. I mean,
but
yeah, no, agree. But like I said, it's I don't know. Christmas is awesome, and then it's not. So, but anyway, I'm not to go not to be a Grinch, but this bad boy. But yeah. So that's I don't even know how we even got there. It is what it is.
I thought you were about to.
We went from tiny Tina with her slice of cake in some shack in some part of the country, or maybe some part of the world. Some video you saw, it might not even had subtitles for all we know. And then we went to talking about that. But
I'm just wondering why we're not still talking about midgets on zip lines.
Maybe because we know that's a dark place to go.
It is dark. It's dark. That's it.
And we were supposed to be talking about intro. I mean, why we're here, which we have gone into.
Yeah. Episode 154. We're going to go in depth on our love affair for midgets.
Yeah, 154 minus 152. That's what's probably going to happen. It's going to happen.
Catch us in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
be talking about that. Yeah.
Like, I remember you talking about the midgets. So I had a dream. And you're like, oh, shit.
All right. So okay. So let's get back to it then.
Yeah.
How we got here, right? I mean,
I think we pretty much said it. You know what I mean? Like, we're here now. You know, the origin story. I think more will be revealed, I guess, as time goes on. You know what I mean? Especially, like, looking back on this one right now and, some time from now and looking at what we've done up to that point, it'll be a lot easier to really kind of appreciate this time and that time and talk about like the process of getting to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As this whole show evolves and, the topics that we kind of hit is going to touch on all these different things, these subjects over time. But, like I said, how we got here, I mean, shit, case in point, it's time to do something else. You know what I mean? This, and hence the Cruxmen, right? It's a pivotal point. We are looking, we have been inspired to do this for the longest. It's time to either shit or get off the toilet. We went ahead and said, let's go ahead and push this bad boy out. It's rock and roll time. This is episode 1. And we're going to keep it going. You know what I mean? When we went into this, we said we're going to do this. Individually, we're like, yeah, whatever. We would easily find other distractions. But we said, okay, if we're going to do this, we are going to be each other's crutch to keep us going in on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? I can't bail because he's relying on me to show up. And he's not going to bail because he says, you know what? Salt's going to be, he's showing up. You know what I mean? So now we're kind of spotting each other like we're going to the gym. You know what I mean? So now it's like, okay, well, shit. Let me put my makeup on and get on this damn camera. You know what I mean? And that's going to be.
So to that point, right? Like, it again, bringing everything full circle, right? There's a vetting period, right? There's a vetting period between you and other people to figure out if you can rely on them to do something like this, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that there was ever any doubt in my mind with you, or maybe your mind and me, I don't know, but like, this is happening now because it's supposed to happen now. You and I have vetted the living shit out of each other. I mean, and not intentionally, like not a challenging, like, oh, I'm going to test this dude and see what he's made of. It's just life, right?
Yeah.
Life, one thing after another in life. I know a lot of shit has happened with me in life, but I do know a lot of shit's happened with you in life. And at the end of the day, I've always wanted somebody who, ever since I was little, like, see these kids, junior high school, they're like, oh yeah, my best friend. Call them on the phone, right? Because people used to call each other on like a telephone at home, right? Versus texting. Call them on the phone. Oh yeah, I'm staying the night at Bobby's house, Saturday night. And I was like, man, I was always so jealous. I didn't have that. And now I do. I mean, I can sleep over at your house whenever I want, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not where I was going with that.
But, yeah, I just got kicked out. Mind if I come over?
We'll tell you. Yeah. Hey, so anyway, nah, man, like, you know, how we got here, man, we got here because after however long you and I have been kicking it together, we knew that this moment, this was right to do this. We have a lot to say. Everybody who knows us knows we have a lot to say, and they keep coming around. And I think that ultimately is what inspired us to do this, is because if that many people, and I'll keep numbers to myself, but if that many people are attracted to us and what we have to say in any given social circle, then maybe there's a lot of other people out there that maybe just need to hear what comes out of our mouth, or maybe not. And I'm okay with people saying,
whatever,
y'all are fucking stupid too. Like, whatever. I don't give a shit.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. If indeed, like, that's probably going to come out, and that's fine. I'm not even tripping. But it can't be any worse than half the shit that I hear on TV already, on the news and all the other stuff. Where I'm just like, I got nothing for you. And I'm going to go back into my hole and do something else. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I can't. It's hard for me to even function in this world 9 times out of 10, just because I can't take the dumb chatter that's constantly bombarding my brain. You know what I mean? So, you know, at least now we're having our own conversation. We're putting our own stuff out there, and now people get to hear our noise, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? And they want to, people can have their opinions, which, granted, I'll tell you like this, I appreciate the criticism. At the end of the day, and you're going to hear me say this over and over, you can kiss my ass. And that's just how that's how I operate, right? You know what I mean? Like, look, that's how I move. You know what I mean? So I don't. You gotta really push my buttons in a certain kind of way to get me to be like, kiss my ass. I truly appreciate. I really do. It's not facetious. It's not a joke. Like, I truly appreciate criticism. But what I will tell you is that typically, especially at this time in my life, your criticism is not going to change. No.
Right? I'm going to hear you, and I'm either going to go, you know what? That's valid. And even if it's valid, it doesn't mean I'm going to play into it, right? Yeah. It could just be a valid point, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do people hit me with something that is so heavy that I'm like,
damn, I got to change how I operate. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it right. When was the last time you changed something
20s
like that? Right.
Where I was like, you know what?
Right.
You're right. And like, I was like, and I made it cognitively, started making moves to like, I need to remove that from how I operate.
I wouldn't say 20s, man. I've definitely in my 30s. I've definitely made some changes in my life and adjustments, but it was someone who I held in very high regard, mm-hmm. who I couldn't get away from. Mm-hmm. That, you know, was like, you need to do this different. Well, listen, and I was like,
absolutely. So let's be clear. Like, okay. I'm always looking for an opportunity to grow. Let's just be clear. But 9 times out of 10, no one's telling me nothing new that I don't already know. So if I tell someone, like, basically, like, if you're telling me something that's way off the mark, like, basically you just don't like my style, that's one thing, right? And that's where you can go ahead and lick the crack. However, if you're telling me something that I can actually, if you're telling me something that I can actually use and grow from, I'll be like, you know what, damn, like you said, that is a valid point. Because especially if numerous people are hitting on something that I know this is like an issue, or this is something that I can change, because I've heard from multiple people, and now I'm recognizing it in myself, I will definitely start taking the next. And this is what I'm talking about, like in the 20s, right? The shit that I got hit for in my 30s was just more people telling me it's more of the same. And I was like, okay, now it's like imperative that I do this because I'm rubbing a lot of folks the wrong way, or I'm doing this to my detriment, or whatever the case might be. You know what I mean? But at this point, I have not had that conversation with people because most people, they don't know, either they don't know me well enough, or where they're coming from is so emotional. You're not even looking at maybe the true issue that you're having with me. It's more so a personal problem, which is not mine. So I don't care. You know what I mean? And for me to sit there and have the back and forth, well, yeah, like in this very PC world we live in, if you're upset by the fact that I did whatever, and I didn't even know that I did it, it's not like I'm out here personally trying to like offend people or anything like that. Like, that's not the case. I mean, I rock with everybody. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. However, if you're upset because I did whatever, I'm like, I didn't even know. And not to say kiss my ass out the gate, but if you're going to keep harping on it, now you can. You know what I mean? Like, now we're going to have this conversation, and I'm probably going to walk away.
At a minimum, invite the conversation before you judge.
Absolutely.
Right?
Like, just be like, hey, like, you know what? Hey, like this, and like, for instance, we done said the M word being numerous times on here. I don't really know the correct word, but it's apparently like a thing. However, in the era that I grew up in, and you too, we're both
M word.
The M word. You know, apparently you're not supposed to say midget. You're supposed to say like little people or something. Ah, that's what it was. Little people.
I was thinking millennial.
Oh, shit. It might be one of these days, you know. But you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. Like, you know, things are changing so fast, especially like in the way like we talk day to day. You know what I mean? It's like for me to tell someone that they're stupid, and now you're telling me that that's wrong, and it's like a borderline curse word to say stupid. I'm like, well, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean,
what am I supposed to call you?
Yeah,
because we eliminated the R word, right? In the late '90s, like Black Eyed Peas ruined that for everybody.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I don't know. And the thing is, it's like there are people that need that type of language. You know what I mean? Let's just be clear.
Get rid. Stupid. Let's get something.
I thought let's get it started in here, right?
Oh, let's get it started.
Yeah.
But wasn't it? Let's get.
I don't think retarded was on there, was it? I don't know. Shit, I always thought let's get it started. I don't know, man.
I will follow up with you on that.
Yeah, we'll do that for episode 2. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, all those things. Once again, I'm not concerned about that. Let it be. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? And if it's something valid where I'm like, you know what, you're right. You know what I mean? I'll call a spade. I'm all with that. You know what I mean? Like, by all means, I grew up with tough love. You know what I mean? And I expect that from everybody I rock with to give it to me just raw and uncut. Like, hey, this is what it is. I'm like, gotcha. Not like that.
I need
I already knew you were going. I was like, nah. Some clarification.
And
brutally honest.
Note,
you know
what?
So yeah, it's like I said, it's in the books. Shit, I think we got this one pretty much sewn up.
My friend, this has been a great hour.
God, has it been an hour already? Lord have mercy.
It's been an hour already, my friend.
Well, there we go.
You know what? I'll see you on the next one.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. All right, man. Take care. Cheers. I'm already done. Lord have mercy. Cling is an empty bottle.
I'll see you in the morning.
Absolutely. Come by.
All right.
All right.
Later.
All right. Well.